This episode, we're diving into A for art. Today, I'm thrilled to be talking to Nathalie. Nathalie is an expressive art facilitator and she helps people express themselves through art. Hi, Nathalie. It's nice to meet you.
Hello, thank you, Bilal. I'm honored to be the A for your podcast.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here. It's
Thank
lovely
you.
to meet you and nice to... Reading your story was very exciting and I've got lots of questions to
Yeah.
talk to you about. So firstly, when I think about art and its connection to mental health, I think about something simple like coloring or like doing something very simple like clay pottery. What does art and how does it connect to mental health in your opinion?
With art, you think of it as a meditation. When you're in a meditative state, it's a lot to go with you. You are sometime sorry. So it's like you are in a flow zone where everything you are doing, you're only focused on the actual thing that you are doing. Which means if I'm coloring, I'm only focusing on the colors, on which color do I use next. So this really helps because it kind of disconnect you from the chaos of your mind because the mind gets chatters a lot, and once you're coloring or you're doing anything related to art, your mind is more focused, so therefore it just makes you feel in a flow moment where you're not really thinking about anything else. It's very much like meditation, and the art is not just using color and paint, and it's more it also includes the creative writing. It includes things like dancing, music. So there's a lot to it, and you do it for many different types of mental health. Even some people will use it for trauma because it helps you disconnect. Like psychology, you have this psychological disconnection, which is like, let's say, creative writing. You're writing about yourself, but it's not really yourself, which means like I can be more free on expressing how it felt. Like, let's say it's a traumatic experience, for example. So to say that it happened to me will be very difficult, especially with words. But if I disconnect myself and say that this happened to someone else, kind of, this psychological disconnection really helps you feel and express everything that you went through.
Yeah. Do you does your art and mental health come from experience? Like, is it something you did, or how did you kind of first like kind of get into that world?
Yeah, see, I was working very long hours and a very stressful job, and for some reason I felt a need to paint. I've always wanted to paint, but I've never done it.
Yeah,
So one day I bought a canvas, a bit of paint. I came home, put up some music on, and starting just painting, putting
yeah,
colors on canvas. But then I really loved it, although I had no experience at all. I just wanted to express. So after that, I started painting every day. It became something I look forward to. So every night I'd come home late because I was working long hours. So I would come even like 9, 10 p.m., but I'll be excited to paint. So I
yeah.
started painting, and after a couple of weeks, I felt a big change in myself. I felt that I'm more calm, like a lot of things are not bothering me as much. So it really helped me in this sense.
Hmm.
And this is where I started doing expressive art for others. It's like I'm passing it on. Like
Yeah,
I wanted people to heal through art. I wanted people to feel the way I felt because it did change me a lot. And the more I did it, the more I expressed myself because I'm also not very good with words. So art really helped me express. So it's like you're giving words to your unspoken. You're giving, it's like you cannot really speak, but you're giving it through art. So
yeah.
sometimes it comes on paper, sometimes it comes through dance movement, it comes through writing, things like that.
Do you have a favorite medium of art expression?
Yes, I mean, for me, I really like to do anything related to paint, acrylic paint specifically, and I love coloring. Like I know it might sound a little bit childish, but I guess the my inner child looks for that. I love coloring. I still color every night, with the nice adult coloring books,
Yeah,
with the nice sceneries and all that, because it just It makes you feel more relaxed.
Mm.
Like the stress will become less and less the more you do anything related to art.
Yeah, a friend of mine actually got me into coloring, adult coloring. I'd never even thought of it or heard of it before. I've always been very creative. I love art and I love like drawing, but I never thought adult coloring would be something I would enjoy. But I found myself getting very bored of it very easily. Like I would color in like a little bit and then like I would think, oh, I need to finish this, but never get around to finishing it because I got very bored very easily. So, what would you say to someone who, like me, gets bored very easily of things like coloring?
I think if you find something you're interested in, like for example, if you like to travel and then you find a coloring book that is related to cities, like you need to find something that you relate to. Plus, like if you don't like coloring in specific, there's so many other things you can do. Like you could doodle, you can do something as this is also considered art. Sorry.
It's okay. I need to find one related to food.
Sorry?
I need to find a coloring book related to food.
Yeah, you could find something like food from around the world. There's so many
Yeah,
options now. Yeah.
that'd be
If you
fun.
love food, restaurants, anything.
Yeah, I think like eating out is one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah,
That's my form of therapy.
it is a form of therapy because I mean, food is there to be enjoyed. It makes us happy as well.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Especially in the Middle East, I think there's a little, not a little, there is a stigma around mental health and kind of addressing the core issues that come around mental health. How do you find that art, especially in the region, is helping people kind of tackle or look at their mental health struggles?
Well, I see a lot of people that are able to express much more through art because, as you said, culturally, we're not really like sharing your feeling is not really accepted,
Mm,
especially when you are younger. Like maybe later on when you make friends and then you talk more about your feelings. But in culturally, it's not something that you do as like on a daily basis with your family or friends. So you get a lot of bundled up feelings. So what really helps when it comes to our culture is how art will tap into your unconscious mind, which means like you like sometimes you don't know why you're feeling sad or why are you upset, but
mm,
it's something definitely happened and it's bundled up inside and you don't really know about it. But when you start doing art, it will come up on paper. And the reason we want it to come up on paper is because you want to be aware of it. Once you are aware of it, it will not be a trigger anymore. So once you know, you can resolve it, and then you will understand why were you triggered in
yeah.
specific moments, and then little by little you will find tools to overcome whatever really bothered you.
So when you say that you help people with their kind of artistic expression when dealing with mental health, what does that entail and how does that come to fruition in places like the Middle East?
Well, I mean, I have a lot of people that I worked with that are from the Middle East, and they are okay to express as long as you feel you are in a safe space. Plus art gives you this safety for some reason, because again, you are kind of having this psychological disconnect, and you're not really talking about yourself. It's you're expressing everything out. So it really helps you realize what's happening. So what I've seen so far is that I didn't see any restrictions when it's time to share, which I never pressure. But I ask if someone would like to share, and everybody does share, and they feel comfortable because it's art. It's not very like it's serious but not serious at the same time. So you're
Yeah.
having fun, but you are also expressing all the bundled up feelings within you.
Yes, exactly. Do you have more like adults or is it children that you work with? And how does it vary between them?
I work with adults mostly.
Okay.
So let's say from 18 till any age that you like, up
Yeah.
to any age that you like. I feel this age is more connected within themselves for like even let's say teenagers is fine, but like little kids they still don't understand a lot of things. So if I'm trying to explain a concept for them, it's not clear. They just want to color and do the fun part, but it's difficult to get into the deep expressions. Although you can tell a lot through paint, through drawing. So if I ask
Mm.
someone to draw a landscape, I can tell on things from their past, how are they feeling, what are they looking forward to as in the future. For
Yeah.
instance, if they drew a lot of birds, birds means fear. So I can see that they have fear. The water is a lot of emotions. Anything water, if someone draws a lot of water when you ask them to draw a landscape, it means they are a very emotional person and they are not in a good place at the moment
Wow.
because there's very emotional. So there's so many things like that. If you draw a chimney on your house, like if you draw a house and there's a chimney
Mm.
on it with the, what do you call it?
Like smoke?
The smoke coming out. It means they lived in a very strict house where someone had temper. So they lived in a very tempered, closed environment. The way
Oh,
you
wow.
draw the windows, the house, the entrance of the house. So you can tell a lot from a drawing. So with kids, I mean, I could ask them to draw a landscape, and then I could kind of interpret and maybe ask them some questions. But I don't really work with kids. But if I ever will, I actually did it once with because I also volunteer at Mawahib. It's a studio for special needs
Hmm.
students, but they're all 18 plus. So sometimes I would ask them to draw just so I'll see what is actually bothering them and things like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so interesting that you can read it from a picture. So growing up, I used to always draw my house with a long path, like a path from the front door, like a long winding path. What would that mean?
But it depends on what's around it. How does the house look like? Because I have to see how the house looks like mostly
Okay.
before I actually see, like before I analyze the path. Because it's either it's a very open house where everybody is welcome, or you're running away. So it makes a big difference. It makes a big
I
difference.
did leave my home when I was 21 and moved to another country, so I think I was running away from something.
Yeah, it really depends because see, it's not only how the house looks like, but also what colors are you using?
Mm,
Like, are there any flowers, butterflies? How does the sky look like? If you have a tree, does it have roots? Does it not have roots? And the colors, like, it's also very specific colors. So, like, there's three different types of green, there's three different types of red. So, I will give you a big box of colors
yeah.
to choose from. The dark blue is more sadder than the lighter blue, for example, and things like that.
So that's so amazing. I'm now going to go back to my old childhood drawings and send you pictures.
Send it to me.
I'm
When
going.
I
Is that
asked you
can I
to
do
draw
that?
yeah, but you know what? Every time I ask someone to draw a house, they draw the house that they used to draw, including myself. I would draw the house that I used to draw,
So can I draw
like,
that right now for you?
yeah, do it. When I was like younger, it's the same house that I draw.
Let me grab a pen. Oh my god, this is so exciting.
Do you have colors?
I I do have colours.
Yeah, okay, so do that.
Just to let you know, if you're listening in, I'm currently drawing a house so that I can
Yeah,
get analysed on what my on what my childhood was like. Okay, cool. Let me draw a house.
yeah, go ahead.
I remember exactly how I used to draw it.
Yeah, I mean, now you're free to draw it the way you want to draw it, but I'm just saying that unconsciously we always draw it the way we used to draw it for some reason.
This is exactly how I used to draw my house.
Mm.
I have a green. I have green. And there used to be apples on the tree. I remember that. I used to always put apples on the tree because even though I never had apple tree, but I always used to put apples on my tree. Okay, I used to do a door like this, and then I used to do. Oh my god, it's all coming back to me. This is crazy. I used to
Yeah.
always draw curtains in the window. I remember that much.
Mm.
And then my house was like this, and then okay, I'm nearly there.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
take your
nearly
time.
there. I don't have yellow, but pretend that I have yellow.
Okay, you just tell me where the yellow goes.
Yeah. Okay. Let me turn off my background.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I can't turn it off when I'm recording. But can you see this?
Yeah, but it's going and coming, so I can't properly see it because I think it's from the background. I can see, yeah, I can see it. Okay. All right, so the sun was yellow,
Yeah,
chimney, doors. So it looked like your house was a little bit strict. It wasn't like a very open, flowy house where everyone can come in and out. There was a bit of discipline and restriction. But your life outside, it was really, really good. It's full of positivity. The green trees are really good. The yellow, the big, big sun with the rays coming out. But yeah, because see, the doors and the windows are closed. The curtains are slightly open, but some will draw just windows without anything. And the house is like completely open. There's no chimney, which means like their house is one of these houses where all the friends are always over, coming in and out, gatherings. Yeah, yours looks a little bit more strict and is very like little, like what do you say? Compound, like yes, or so
that
this
is
is
that is that's literally me growing up.
yeah.
That was literally me. I had a very strict house, but outside of the house it was very nice and very like calm and friendly. But my house was still very much strict and very much constricted for sure. That's crazy.
Yeah, I know you can tell a lot by a drawing. Like,
Wow.
I mean, outside looks fine. You didn't show any fears. You didn't show any, like, strong emotions or anything like that. So it's good.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah, sure.
I felt a bit like taken aback. Okay. In your experience with regards to like drawing and art, expressions of art in any form, what's the most impactful way you've seen for someone's well-being and mental health?
To be honest, everyone is different because, like, some people don't want to sit and color. They prefer to write.
Mm,
Like you said, you didn't really like color, but if I asked you to write something, I will
mm,
ask you to do something. You don't have to do it now. But what you could do is you will say Bilal is, okay?
yeah.
And you start writing. You shouldn't stop for like, let's say, a full page or so. So
Okay.
when you say Bilal is and you start writing, you don't have to think ahead of time what comes up. Things will come up, things that are bothering you, things that happen to you, things that you are unhappy with. So everything comes out on paper. It's because you psychologically disconnected yourself from the person who is writing. So this is a
Yeah.
very small technique. So some people prefer writing. Another really good writing technique is when this is more if, someone had a trauma and
Mm,
they don't really want to talk about the trauma. So you ask them to give characters for, for like yourself,
mm,
for the bad people who did bad stuff to you. And you write it as a story. You choose like forest animals. Like let's say you will choose that you are a fox or you are the little bird, and then the bears are the bad people. And
mm.
then what happened to you in this forest? And who helped you and who didn't help you and how did you feel? So
Yeah.
this is also another way. It's not for kids, it's for everybody. Like
Mm.
even if you start writing, you want to write about a trauma, about something that happened in your childhood, you just put yourself in a one of the animal, and just say the story.
Yeah, I see that a lot on TikTok. They're like, you walk past the forest and you see four animals. You see a dog, you see a bear, you see a lion, and you see a reindeer, for example. And at the end, it's like that's the fear you had growing up. So I see that a lot. So it's interesting that you say that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how similar this is, but this one is talking about you, what happened to you. So again, it's like Bilal is, you are disconnecting. So you are not Bilal anymore. You are this fox. And then you can talk more or like say more things that you are scared to talk about as
Interesting.
you. Yeah.
Oh, that's really
So it's,
interesting.
yeah, it's very interesting. I tried it once. It's really emotional. Like you wouldn't think. Like you
Yeah,
will get so emotional while you're writing a story about forest animals. But you, but you really get so emotional, like what happened to this little bird and these people and yeah, it's really, really interesting. So you could try this to release if you're not really into coloring, painting, things like that as well. So yeah,
I love writing because that's technically my day job. So I
try it.
have to write for almost every day. So yeah, I might
Excellent.
actually try that. That sounds really interesting.
Yeah.
Would you say it takes a certain type of person to be writing over drawing, or can someone do both if you're not artistically minded?
I mean, for me, everyone can do everything. It depends on the moment and what do they prefer. Because the first thing I actually say when I'm hosting a workshop, I write that there's no need for previous art experience because people think that if I come to this workshop, I have to know how to draw or at
Yeah.
least how to, create some type of an art. But actually, you don't have to at all. Anybody can do it because I will not ask you to draw something difficult. It's more of an expression. If I ask you to draw a tree, I will not sit and judge like, oh, look, you didn't put the right colors or you didn't. It's not judgment. It's like how you feel, like you drew the house now. Yeah, it's I just look at the end result. No, I
Hmm.
will never look at like this looks good or it doesn't look good. They don't know how to draw because you're not
Yeah.
supposed to know how to draw. It's more of an expression.
Oh wow. There's so much science behind that, isn't it? I think that's crazy that
Yes.
people haven't really thought about. I never thought about the science behind art and how that helps. That's really interesting. So, is there much research that you're involved in or that you've read about art and mental health?
I mean, I'm very interested to learn more, but I haven't, to be honest, I haven't seen enough academic research about art and mental health. I mean, there are some research. They say like if you do some type of art 45 minutes, it will decrease the stress hormone in your body. So
Oh,
this is
wow.
one of the research. There are a couple of research like that, but there isn't, I mean, I haven't found, at least myself,
Hmm.
good academic sources about
Is
this
that stress?
specific.
Sorry, is that stress hormone cortisol? Or the one that
Yes,
you're talking? Okay, yeah. Because I've also read that art therapy is really good for reducing cortisol levels.
yes.
Do you know anything else about that, or is it? Yeah.
It's because it calms you down again. So when you are doing any type of art, your mind is away from the chaos, it's away from the chatter, it's away from all the things that you should be doing. So this is why it calms you down. Therefore, the stress will be less than before you started the actual painting. It's like meditation. If you had a really long tough day and then you come home and you are into meditation, then you sit with it with some calm music, some candles, and you
Hmm.
relax, then of course your stress will be less than when you first started
Yeah.
the meditation.
I think that's really powerful because obviously being a Muslim, we pray 5 times a day, and some people like say prayer is very much like meditation. So I feel like naturally, as a Muslim, we meditate quite a lot. We almost meditate every day. So I feel like that in itself is a form of healing, which I think is really powerful. And in itself is an art form. I think it's definitely a form of, what's the word? Like making sure, like it's very regimented, so you're kind of making sure your spirit and your body, you feel good every day, which I think is really
Yeah.
powerful. Apart from kind of art and things like that and meditation, what other kind of avenues have you explored with regards to art and mental health,
Other than what? Other than?
other than main art things like drawing and painting? Is there anything else you've explored or looked at?
I mean, I did explore few things. For example, a sand play is also very powerful, where like you get a sand tray and you give someone the little
Mm-hmm.
figurines, they call them, and then
Yeah.
you use them to tell a story. This works also with kids very well because you can tell the story, and of course, we will include like weapons and dangerous things within the figuring so they can actually show what is
Yeah.
really happening. I studied a little bit about play therapy, where you just get a child to play in front of you And then they will, while playing, you will notice few things and ask them the questions, and then they can express what really
Hmm.
happened at home and things like that.
Yeah. That's really interesting. I think one thing about A to Zenith, this podcast, is we try to talk about how mental health and, in this episode, art in itself can be used in the region. So, do you know of any art therapy, or do you do anything about with regards to art that people can like look into, or what can they do like on a day-to-day basis with regards to art and mental health?
Yeah, well, I mean, I do some workshop, but I mean, I usually just post them on my Instagram account and sometimes on LinkedIn. I'll probably have a couple coming up in January. And if you want to do something every day, I think like scribble, color, anything you can do that, whatever tools you have, even if you just scribble any shape and you color inside of the shape. If you don't like to be too specific and color, for example, a scenery or the coloring book. Sometimes
Mm,
I do that as well. So you scribble like any kind of shape, doesn't
yeah,
matter what shape it is, and then you see the circles in it or the corners, and you color, and then this also it will really help you feel calm and relaxed because you're thinking of what colors do I use here? How can I match these?
mm,
Where else can I see corners? So your mind is distracted with doing the activity instead of just, chatter in your mind. And another thing is journaling. I know it's not art, but for me it is a type of, I can consider it a type of art because again, you are writing, releasing. You can do something called just venting, where you have to start. You start writing and you cannot stop before, you shouldn't stop before you finish two full pages. So
wow.
anything that comes to mind, you just sit and write, and everything comes on paper. Then you just throw the paper away.
On that note, thank you so much for taking your time to speak to me. And yeah, it's been a lovely conversation. Thank you very much.